Hi, greetings everyone. In this video, we will understand what is the Excel object model. The Excel has an object model. The object model is a big hierarchy of all the objects that you can use in VBA. At the top of this hierarchy is the application object, and all the other objects are below it. The dot operator is used to navigate through the hierarchy. You connect the objects with a dot to get to the lesser objects. If you want to change the font in a cell, you need to get to the font object. Let's see how to get there. Start with the application object. Then navigate to the workbook, then to the worksheet, and then to the range. Finally, to the font object. Now, how to specify this in a coding language? It will be application dot active workbook dot active sheet dot range within bracket in the inverted commas. Say the cell reference is A1 dot font. That's a long way to go to get to a font object. There are some shortcuts that I discuss in a moment, but whatever syntax you use, this is what's happening under the hood. The object model of the application refers to and contains its programming objects which are related to each other in a hierarchy. The entire Excel application is represented by the application object, which is at the top of the object hierarchy, and moving down you can access the objects from the application to workbook, to worksheet, to range, and further on by connecting the objects with a period, that is dot. Excel objects are accessed through parent object. Worksheet is the parent of range object. Workbook is the parent object of the worksheet object as well as the range object, and the application is the father of all the objects. Example, start at the top of the hierarchy with the application object, then move down to the workbook, worksheet, range, and font objects. The application object refers to the host application of the Excel, and the entire Excel application is represented by it. The workbook object appears next below the application object in the Excel object hierarchy and represents a single workbook within the Excel application. A workbook is also referred to as an Excel file. The workbook's collection object includes all the currently opened workbooks in Excel. The worksheet object appears next below the workbook object in the Excel object hierarchy and represents a single worksheet within the workbook. The worksheet's collection object includes all the worksheets in the workbook. A range object refers to a cell or a range of cells. It can be a row, a column, or a selection of the cells comprising of one or more rectangular contiguous blocks of cells. When the range is a union of multiple blocks of cells, it is referred to as a non-contiguous range of cells. The range object is usually used maximum within the Excel application. The application object is the default object. Excel assumes it even when it is not specified. The application qualifier is mostly not required to be used in a VBA code because the default application is Excel itself, unless you want to refer to the other outside applications like MS Word or Access in your code, or you want to refer to the Excel from another application like Microsoft Word. In your VBA code, both expressions application.activeworkbook.name and active workbook dot name will have the same effect of returning the active workbook's name. However, there are some instances when the application qualifier is required to be used, which generally when using the properties and methods which relate to the Excel window's appearance or relate to how the Excel application behaves as a whole. Whenever you are dealing with the Excel object model, there are always default objects. For instance, the application object is always assumed regardless of where your code is. The path to the font object could be written down with the help of activeworkbook.activesheet.range. You can specify the cell reference.font. When you omit the application object, Excel assumes that it's there. When you are in the standard module like module 1, there are some more default objects at your disposal. When you omit the workbook reference, Excel assumes you want the active workbook. This code is same as the previous two snippets. ActiveSheet.range, the cell reference.font. How much would you pay for these default objects? Wait, don't answer yet. There's more. You can omit the worksheet reference and active sheet will be assumed. Yet another equivalent code snippets. Range, the cell reference.font. That sure is the shorter than the line we started with. Don't get too excited, there's a downside. Now let's execute this code out here. So here is the code. Can be written as, you can omit the application, you can even mention the code as such. So here is your code, how it will be made applicable in the VBA editor. You can simply mention range, the cell reference.font being in the active sheet, since the workbook is already opened, which will be your active workbook, and being Excel the default application. Excel being the default application, you can simply use active sheet.range, the cell reference.font, or being in the sheet you can use range, the cell reference.font. So your code down the line is specified as range, the cell reference.font. I hope the concept is clear to you. Thank you.
Hello, greetings everyone. Now it's time to learn how to work with the Excel objects. The first Excel object I will make you understand is the range object. The range object, which is the representation of a cell or cells on your worksheet, is the most important object of Excel VBA. This video will give you an overview of how to use the range object in Excel VBA. So here are some few examples I will let you know. Say if you want to select a cell using Excel VBA, how will you do it? I'll say sub select cell. I'll name it as select cell and use the code. We'll start with the range. Within inverted commas, we will give the reference of the cell. Say the reference is A1. I'll close the bracket. Dot select. So this will help me select the particular range. So when I'll run this code, say if my cell is in A7, how will this code be executed? I'll run it, it will go to A1. Similarly, we can work with the other cells as well. Say I want to insert a value in the cell B2. So how can I do it? I'll name it as fill value. I'll give the reference of the range. Put it in inverted commas, very important. Dot value is equal to Say I want to put the value as say 35. So that's it. I'll run this code. So if you see here in this cell B2, you'll get a value 35. Say if you want to select a range from A1 to B5, how you can do it? Say sub, I'll say sub space select range I'll say range. I'll open the bracket and give the reference of the cell A1 to B5. I'll close the bracket and say select. So that's it. I'll run the code. This is how it has selected my range. Say if you want to select a range from current cell to B6. Say my current cell is A7 and I want to select the cells from the current cell to cell B6. How it can work? I'll say sub select part select. I'll say range. Very important. I'll open the bracket and say active cell comma B6. I'll close the bracket dot select. That's it. I'll run the code. So this is how it has worked. My cell was in the range A7 and now it has selected from A7 to B6. If say you want to select the active cell, say my active cell is A12. I want to select the active cell and insert a value in the active cell. How can I do that? I'll say sub active actval. I'll say active cell dot value. If you say active cell dot value, this will select the cell and insert the given values. I'll type word as Excel. So when I'll run this code, so this is how it has worked. If I say active cell dot select, it will help me select the active cell. So these are the different ways you can work with a range object. There are a few more examples I will let you know about the range object as and when I'll keep on explaining you the codes in Excel VBA. By that time, keep on practicing the range object. Thank you. Hi, greetings everyone. Now let us understand how the cell object works in Excel VBA. The cells method is similar to the range method except that it takes numeric arguments instead of string. When used to return a single cell, the first argument is the row, the second is the column. Using cells is particularly useful when you want to loop through the object. Now in our earlier video we saw how to select any active cell using the active cell dot select. Say if my cell is A37, how will I select this active cell? I can do this using the active cell dot select code in the VBA. Now say I want to do the same with the help of cells object, but for that you need to specify the row number and the column number. So here I want to select the row number 45 and the column number 7. This I can do with the help of the cells object. So here is my code, cells, within the bracket I will mention the row number and the column number dot select. So let us execute this code out here. Now here if you see, it has selected the cell with the row number 45 and the column number 7. Now I want that Excel should add a value to the row number 45 and the column number 3. That is, it should insert the value where the row number 45 and the column number 3 intersects. Let me execute this code. Here is my code which will help me out, that is cells bracket open 45 which is the row number comma 3 which is the column number, and it will insert the value Excel there. I'll execute this code. So here if you see, in the row number 45 and the column number 3, it has inserted the value, that is Excel. So this is how you can use the cells object. Let us take the another example where Excel VBA will count the number of cells from A1 to B6 and check out with the values and compare it with 100. If it is less than 100, it will give the color code as 8, and if it is more than 100, it will give the color code as 7. So let us run the code and check out. So I'll execute this code now. So if you see, the color of the values has changed according to the code. So these were the examples where you can work with the cell objects. There are few more examples. I will keep on executing as and when I'll move on with my videos. By that time, you can practice this. Thank you. Now here in this video, we will see various properties of range one by one. The first property will be resize property. This property is useful for extending or redefining a new size range. To extend this range to this range, resizing a range can be increased, decreased or changed the configuration by combining positive or negative values inside the resize property. Now let's see how to work with this. Now here is the code which will help me increase the current selected range. Now the current selected range is A10 to A11. Now let's see how this will increase the size. Now if you see here, with the help of resize property, I have increased the size of a row and a column by 1. Now I'll execute this code. If you see here, this has increased the size of a column by 1 and a row by 1. This is how we can work with the resize property. Now let's take a look at the activate method. This method should not be confused with the select method as commonly used in VBA. The select method means go and navigate to it. Say for example, range1.select or the range A1 to C10.select. The activate method selects a cell within a selection. By default, in a selection of the cells, the first top left position is the active cell. If you see here, this is the active cell right now. Now in this example, which I'm going to give it to you right now, it will select from A1 to C1 the range. Then it will display a message box stating that the cell B2 in the following range is active. So let's see. I'll execute this. So it has selected and it has told me what is the active cell right now, that is A1 from the given range. I'll say okay. The next cell is B2 after activating the B2 cell from the given selection. This procedure helps you select a fixed range of cells with a message box confirming the address of the active cell. Then using the activate method, move the active cell to the address B2. So this is how it will work. Say okay. Let's close. So here if you see, first time it will select the range and it will show you the active cell The other way round, it will select the entire range and then it will show you the next activated cell. I hope this video was quite interactive for you. Thank you very much. Last but not the least, we will learn how to use the count property for a following range. With the count property, you can count the number of cells, rows and columns of a range. Now here we have an example, sub count. I have given the name it as count, the procedure. Dim example as a range, set example is equal to range A1 to C4. So this will set the range from A1 to C4 and count the number of cells for a given range. So let us run this code and execute it. So now it is telling me there are 12 cells starting from a given range to the given range as mentioned in the code. Similarly, you can count the number of rows and the columns using the given example here. Here it will help you to count the number of rows. Okay, I'll execute this. I'll execute this. So it is giving me the number of rows are 4. So similarly, you can change this to columns and check out the number of columns here. It is giving me as 3. By that time, practice this and see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Hi, greetings everyone. Earlier we saw how to split the data onto multiple worksheets, onto multiple workbooks. Now we will see in this video how we can combine multiple worksheets to form a single worksheet. Now here I have a data onto multiple worksheet. Say north data, I have east data, west data and the south data. I want to combine, I want to merge all these sheets to make and combine it to one sheet. Now for that you need to run the following code here. Here I have assigned a variable to a sheet, that is SHT as a variant. I have added a new sheet after all the sheets. The name of that sheet will be news, and here I have assigned a loop where each sheet in the collection of sheets, if the name of the sheet is not equal to news, then it will select the range A1 in each sheet and it will copy the data and paste it on to the new sheet if the selected cell onto the new sheet is not equal to blank. And if it is equal to blank, then it will paste the data, and if it is not equal to blank, then it will check out the range, the following range which is given in the code, and it will paste one row below the last row and paste the data over there. Now here let me run this code. Now if you see here, when I executed this code, it has pasted all the data from the north sheet, the east, west and the south sheet onto the new sheet, that is your news. You can name this with the first letter as caps. So when I'll delete this, I'll execute this again for you. Just have a look. Here, so this is how your code will look like, and this is how your worksheet will look like once the data is pasted. So this is how you can merge the data. It's very simple. All you need to do is you need to apply the for each loop, assign the variable to the sheet, add a new sheet, and in the active worksheet, that is the new sheet, paste all the data. So that will be done several times till all the data from the sheet is copied to the new sheet. It will stop the moment it compares the sheet and the name of the sheet is news. So I hope the concept is clear to you. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Hi, in the earlier video we saw how to work with the range object. Now in this video, we will see how to work with the selection object. An important method of the range object is the select method. The select method simply selects a range. So if you see in this code, I have given a variable to a particular range, and this range I have used to select. So I will run this code and execute it. If you see here, when I executed this code, it has selected the range starting from A1 to C4 as mentioned in the code. So this is how we will be working with the selection object. I hope the concept is clear to you. Thank you. Hello, greetings everyone. In our earlier video, we saw how to select a specific range. In this video, we will see how to select the row and the column within a defined range. First of all, we will see how to select a row with the help of a VBA code. We will also see how to select a column with the help of a VBA code. I'll name this as sub select row. I'll close the brackets. Now here I will mention the code to select a row. I'll say rows. Within the bracket, I will mention the row index number that needs to be selected. Say the row number 2 I want to select, and I'll say dot select. Now when I'll run this code, it will help me select the row number 2. Similarly, if I change this to columns, and execute the code, it will help me select the column number 2. If I say column number 3, it will select my column number 3. Now we will see how to select a specific row or the number of rows and the columns in a defined range. Now here is my example. I have taken the previous example here where I have defined a variable for a data type range. I have set the variable to a defined range, and here now I want that from A1 to B5, that is from A1 to B5, it should select the row number 2. Now let us execute the code out here, but before that I need to mention which row number I need to select. I'll say rows 2. I have to mention the row index number. Now here I will run the code. If you see, it has selected the row number for a defined range, that is A1 to B5. Now here, if I change the column name to say C5, what will be my output? It has increased my selection with one cell towards the column name C. If I make it to D, I'll run this code. It has again increased my selection by one column. Similarly, if I replace this rows to columns and I execute this code, it will select the number of column only for the particular number of cells. So if you see, it has selected the column, that is the column number 2, only for defined number of rows which are mentioned in the code. That is, I have mentioned the row number from 1 to 5. So that is why when I run this code, it will only select from B1 to B5. Your row number will be static for the columns and your column name will be static for the rows. So when I'll make changes to the row number here,
and I'll run this code, if you see it has increased the selection to one row below. I hope the concept is clear to you. Thank you.
Hello, greetings everyone. In this video, we will understand what is the basic difference between the dim and the set keywords. We will see how we will apply these two keywords. The set keyword is used to create new objects. Creating a new object, for example, the set keyword comes in handy when you want to simplify long lines of code. It also speeds up your code when VBA executes it. Let us take these two lines as an example here. The first line introduces you to the new variable type as range. This object variable type is used to hold a range of cells from the spreadsheets. The next line starts with the word set. Next, you need the name of your object variable, which is a new range for us right now. After an equal to sign, you type what it is trying to set as a new object. The code, however, is pointless as we are not doing anything with this new range. In our next video, I will demonstrate how to use these two keywords simultaneously. Thank you. Now that we have seen how to use cell and the range object, it's time for you to learn how to use the worksheet object. We can call it as the third level of hierarchy. In this video, I will execute multiple codes for you to understand this object more clearly and precisely. To illustrate this point, I will draw your attention to the specific codes in this module and execute one by one for you for a better understanding. To use this object, you first need to know the difference between worksheets and a worksheet object. Sheets object is a collection of all the sheets in a workbook. These sheets can be worksheets or charts, while worksheets object is a collection of all the worksheets in a workbook except charts. Last is simply a worksheet object. It is a member of all the worksheets collection, also a member of sheets collection. A worksheet object can be accessed from the sheets or the worksheets object. Say in this example, we will count the number of sheets, the number of worksheets and the charts in the given workbook. So let me execute this code for you and let you know how this works. So I have run the code. Here it shows me there are total number of sheets are 4, number of worksheets are 3 and there is one chart in the workbook. I hope this video was understandable for you. In my next part of the video, I will show you how to work with the worksheet properties and the methods. Thank you. In our earlier session, we saw how to use worksheet object. In this video, we will see how to use the various worksheet properties and methods. Firstly, we will see how to select any sheet by its index number. Index number is nothing but the numeric number of a sheet. Say for example, here in this workbook, chart 1 will be the index number 1, sheet 1 will be the index number 2. So this code will help you to select the sheet with the help of the index number, that is sheets number 2 dot select or worksheets 2 dot select. Then we will see how to select a sheet with the help of a name. So these two codes will help you to select a worksheet with the help of the sheet name. Next will be how to rename a sheet. The code sheets, the name of the sheet dot name is equal to the new name will help you to assign a name to the sheet. Next, we will see how to delete a sheet. Sheets within the bracket, the name of the sheet .delete will help you to delete a sheet. Or you can use the active sheet .delete. This will help you to delete the active sheet in your workbook. Then we will see how to insert a sheet. If you want to insert a sheet after a specific sheet or before a specific sheet, you need to mention it as mentioned in the code. Sheets.add before the sheets, the name of the sheet. If you want to add it after the given sheet, you can add a code saying after. Then we will see how you can print a worksheet using the VBA code. So here the code is the sheets within the bracket name of the sheets and then .printout. Then we will see how you can preview a sheet. .print preview property will help you to preview a worksheet in VBA. Next we will see how you can copy a worksheet from one place to the other. So here sheets name of the sheet .copy after a particular sheet or before a particular sheet will help you to copy the worksheet. Last but not the least, we will see how to move a sheet. So here sheets the name of the sheet .move after a particular sheet will help you to move a sheet. So these are the properties and methods you'll be using in Excel VBA with the help of a sheet. As and when we will be moving on with the other videos, I will help you know how to use the other properties and methods related to worksheets. Thank you. Up till now, we got familiar with the basic objects in hierarchy, viz. Range, cells and the worksheet object. Now it's time to discuss about the workbook object. In this video, we will see how to activate the existing workbook, how to open the existing workbook, and how to activate an auto macros when the workbook is open. Next, we will see how to close a workbook without saving and how to close the workbook after saving. Last but not the least, we will also see how to add a workbook. So here if you see, these are the codes given to us. The first code, that is workbooks, the name of the file .activate will help you to activate the existing workbook from the list of workbooks. The next code is workbooks.open and the file name. This will help you to open the existing workbook. Activate workbook.run auto macros. This command will help you to run the macros in the given file name automatically. Workbooks, the name of the file .close, save changes is equal to false. This command will help you to close the workbook without saving. If you replace the false by true, this will help you to save the workbook and then close it. Now, how to add a workbook? The command workbooks.add will help you to add a new workbook in the application. So this is how you can use the workbook objects. Thank you. Next in the loop is how you will delete an existing workbook. The following command or the syntax will help you to delete an existing file or a workbook from Excel. Now here I have used a code kill space the path name. This code will help me to delete the file which is named as delete on the desktop. So let me execute this for you. So if you see on the desktop, I have a file named delete. So when I'll run this code, so if you see, my file is deleted from the desktop. I hope this is clear to you. Thank you. In our previous video, we saw how to use the various object properties and methods. To list them all will take an online help system. This is by no means complete. It's just meant to give you the taste of what's available. Now we'll see one by one what is the use of the given code here. The first code is application.screenUpdating is equal to false. Now earlier we discussed about the range object, the cell object and the worksheet, workbook objects. Now it's time to discuss about the application object. The first code, that is the application.screenUpdating is equal to false, causes the Excel to not redraw the screen. This can speed up your macros because redrawing takes some time. Be sure to set it back to true at the end of the macro. The second code, that is application.displayAlerts is equal to true, causes the Excel to suppress those message boxes that you get every once in a while, like when you delete a sheet. Usually, setting this property makes Excel choose the default button for whichever message is being suppressed. The next code is the application.calculation is equal to Excel calculation manual. This can also be Excel calculation automatic. This one also speeds up your macro because normally Excel recalculates every time something changes. The next is application.cutCopy mode. Setting this to false. Regarding this, one might say that if you have done a lot of copying in your macro, then you can clear all the memory used by the copy operations by executing cut-copy mode. If copying just small amounts, then there's no real advantage to using cut-copy mode. Last but not the least is the application.visible, which is set to false. By the name itself, it says that it will hide your application at the background when it is set to false. But for that, your application needs to be open at least once. So once it is open, when you run this code, it will hide your application at the background. I hope the concept is clear to you. Thank you. Hi. In one of our videos earlier, we have already seen what exactly is the object properties and methods and how to use them. Once you figure out how the objects work, you'll be able to apply your knowledge very easily to the other applications too. All you need to do is spend some more time getting acquainted with the app object models. Now in this video, I will show you how you can use the assistants in the VBA if you don't know how to use some of the properties, methods and the events. So let's discuss that out. I'll go to the developer tab here. I'll go to the Visual Basic, insert a module for you. Now here I'll type a code. Say for example, I'll say sub space a close. I want to close this workbook and I want to write a code for that. Now I want to close this workbook. So I'll say this workbook dot. Now here, if I say here, I'm not getting the option here. Or you can just simply press Ctrl J. This will act as an IntelliSense for your VBA, which will help you guide through the properties and the methods that you can use with this workbook to close out this. Now here, you can just find out where exactly is the close. All you need to do is just press C and locate through the option that is close. So here we are getting it. Just press tab, you'll get the option close. So you can run this code. Once you run this code, it will ask you whether you want to save this workbook. You can say don't save, or if you want to save it, you can say save. And it will ask you whether you want to continue saving as a macro free enabled workbook. And if you want to say yes, you can click on yes. If you want to save it as a macro enabled workbook, you can simply say no. And it will ask you where exactly you want to save your workbook. All you need to say is I want to save it on the desktop here. rename it as, say, for example, macro, and I want to save it as a macro enabled workbook, and I'll say save. It will close my workbook. Is there some other way you can go ahead and use in the VBA which will help you to use the IntelliSense with the greater detail? Yes. You can go to the object browser. Now, how do you go to the object browser here? All you need to do is you can press F2 as a shortcut key, or you can use this icon to locate for the object browser. Now, what exactly the object browser does? The object browser enables you to see or browse through a list of all the different objects with the methods, properties, events and constants. Now here, if you see, it will give you the option for all the libraries. All the libraries will reflect all the applications in your Windows. Now here, since I have all the libraries enabled, if you want only for the Excel libraries to be opened, then it will open all the classes and the members for your Excel applications only. Now here, your application, your library will be divided into 2 panes. The first pane, that is the left hand side, will show you the classes option. Classes are nothing but the elements which will help you to work with the objects, and on the right hand side you'll see all the properties, methods and events related to the corresponding objects. So if you want to locate any object related to any kind of application you want to work within the code, all you need to do is you need to go to the classes in the left hand side. Here you'll get all the options. So if I want to locate, say for example in the Excel, I want to locate the object that is workbook. All I need to do is I need to type the workbook here and say enter. So I'll get the option here for workbook, Excel workbook, and when I type workbook here in the classes, you can click on the workbook option related to the workbook. These are all members which are listed down here. So you'll get the properties here, the pointer that you see over here with the hand pointer. This is known as a property. If you see here a green pointer, this will act as a method, and the yellow pointer will indicate an event. So there are various properties and methods which are related to the object. As we have already discussed, what are the properties? Properties are nothing but the qualities of an object, and methods are the actions related to any object. So you can use any of the property and method, and you can work with your object with the help of the object browser. In our further videos, I will let you know how to work with these objects and object browser members. By that time, practice this and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.